USC star JuJu Watkins reaches 1,000-point mark faster than Caitlin Clark. At the end of a historically dominant week in which records were toppled and women's college basketball put on early notice, JuJu Watkins pulled up from behind the arc in Friday's game and bricked. She missed her next jumper too. Then a layup. Then another three. It was an uncharacteristically cold stretch, considering the scorching week that had come before it for number 3 USC. Watkins and her fellow Trojans had just exploded for a record 124 points in a win over Cal State Northridge. They'd won their last two by a combined margin of 140. But here was Santa Clara climbing back, cutting their lead to just a few points, as if to remind the Trojans it wouldn't always be easy. Watkins eventually connected on a mid-range jumper, pumping her fists as it fell. And USC eventually soared to another decisive, non-conference win, 81-50. Along the way, Watkins once again reminded everyone of the rarefied air she already occupies in women's basketball. With USC pulling away, midway through the third quarter, she pump-faked at the top of the key, then made a jumper from the free throw line. The silky smooth finish was nothing out of the ordinary for Watkins, who scored 22 points. But the basket pushed her past the 1,000-point threshold, a milestone that no one at USC, or in the Big Ten Conference, ever reached as quickly as her. It took Watkins just 38 games to reach the mark, just one game slower than the NCAA record holders, Marie Jackson of Louisiana State, Carol Mencken of Oregon State, and Sandra Hodge of New Orleans, who all reached the mark in the late 1970s or early 80s. Even Caitlin Clark, the NCAA's all-time leader in points, took 2 more games than Watkins to reach 1,000. The historic pace didn't faze Watkins, who said she didn't take it for granted and was very blessed to be in the position to score so much, so fast. USC coach Lindsay Gottlieb assured anyone who'd listen, however, that this was not some ho-hum milestone. It's always worth noting when you break a record at USC, it hits a little different, because the people that you're breaking the record from are so great. And JuJu belongs in that conversation, Gottlieb said. I don't want to say we take her accolades for granted. But sometimes it's like, wow, she's 4 games into her sophomore year and has scored 1,000 points. It's really an incredible accomplishment. USC has had no trouble making the incredible look cavalier over the last week, ever since its narrow season opening win over Mississippi. 3 blowout wins over Cal Poly, Cal State Northridge, and Santa Clara may not do much for the strength of schedule come NCAA tournament time. But Gottlieb said she challenged her team to use that stretch to try new things and learn what works with a new roster, all the while honing in on details that would come in handy later. We're a work in progress, Gottlieb insisted. Forward Kiki Iriefin took that challenge to heart Friday when she found herself faced with regular double teams down low. The paint was packed, she said, so it let me step out a little more. And with her mid-range jumper falling, Iriefin contributed 20 points on 9 for 14 shooting. It was the sort of performance that showed how malleable USC's offense could be at its full potential, with Iriefin and Watkins able to score from anywhere on the floor. We haven't had a post player who shoots it as well as she does, Gottlieb said of her senior forward. Watkins had yet to fully unlock her own outside shot through 3 games heading into Friday. She came into the game just 2 for 13 from 3-point range, only to hit 3 from deep. That effort might not have led to an 85-point victory, like their last time out. Nor did the Trojans score in triple digits for the 3rd straight game. But with Notre Dame looming next weekend, Watkins insisted there was plenty to learn from a week spent steamrolling opponents. We continue to learn each other over the time we have. I think that's more valuable than anything, Watkins said. Our chemistry will continue to grow. We're all kind of new together. We don't take anything for granted.